Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
Once the light was turned on, the entire room lit up at an instant. "You're hungry," came Jared's gentle voice. "Yeah." Nicole's cheeks reddened as she replied shyly. She had sustained that injury before she could even have her lunch, so she was truly hungry now. "Let's eat." Jared helped Nicole up into a sitting position and pulled the table over, setting the dinner up for her quickly. The aroma wafted over, and Nicole's stomach growled even louder in response. Jared smiled as he handed her a spoon. "Eat up. You too," Nicole said, knowing he had been here with her all along and probably had not had dinner either. Then, they went on to eat their scrumptious dinner together. Initially, Nicole was sulking due to her injuries, but now, with Jared beside her, she began feeling better. After eating their fill, Nicole's mood had completely recovered, smiling in contentment before she said, "Indeed, good food is the best remedy." Jared raised an eyebrow and looked at her. "Just good food?" Nicole smiled as she gently cupped Jared's cheeks with her hands. "A handsome man is an even better remedy." Jared leaned closer to her and kissed her in the lips. "Will this be better for your recovery then?" With flushed cheeks, Nicole playfully scolded Jared, "Okay, you're being too cheesy. My wife seems dissatisfied, so I don't think that has done the trick well enough," Jared said as he leaned closer to Nicole, attempting to steal another affectionate kiss. Nicole avoided his kiss while she laughed. "Stay away from me. You're just acting like a punk now." "Don't worry, I'll make sure my wife is satisfied," Jared continued to tease her. "Help, someone is bullying a patient," Nicole yelled, pretending to call for help. Amidst the flirting, 3 knocks emanated from the door, causing the room to return to its previous state of silence. Nicole looked at Jared in surprise, as if she was saying, "Did someone really come to help?" Jared straightened up, and in a deep, calm voice he said, "Come in." The door opened, and Lawrence entered with a bouquet of flowers. Nicole's lips twitched, feeling extremely embarrassed. "Lawrence has probably heard our goofy conversation. Oh my, this can't be happening. How can I even face anyone now? Seems like you're fine." Lawrence approached Nicole and handed her the bouquet. "A beauty deserves flowers. These are for you." "Thank you," Nicole replied, forcing herself to accept the bouquet. Before she could grab it, however, the bouquet was already in Jared's hands, and he casually placed it aside. "Thank you for visiting my wife. She's not badly injured, but she still needs plenty of rest." Jared butted in, not showing any signs of embarrassment. He appeared calm and composed as he discreetly indicated for Lawrence to leave. Lawrence, on the other hand, had understood the hint, but he did not want to leave, especially not now. "I'm glad you're okay." Lawrence stood by the bedside, his gaze filled with concern as he looked at Nicole. "I rushed over as soon as I heard about the accident. I've been really worried on my way here." Nicole could not help but roll her eyes mentally. It was obvious that this had become a subtle competition between Lawrence and Jared. "It was just an accident, and I'm fine now," Nicole said, feigning calmness. She did not wish to tell Lawrence much about Snow, so she resorted to giving him a brief explanation instead. Lawrence then glanced at Nicole, whose complexion seemed healthy enough. He had been genuinely worried about her after he had learned about her accident, so he advised Nicole, "Even if it was an accident, you should be more careful in the future." "Yeah," Nicole agreed, wanting to end this conversation quickly. "She needs rest. If that's everything, you may leave now, Mr. Royce," Jared said, having decided to be more assertive in shooing him away when he noticed Lawrence's persistent fussing over Nicole's condition. Naturally, those words displeased Lawrence, whose face darkened. "Mr. Johnston, your attitude toward your friends leaves much to be desired. Your attitude toward patients also betrays your lack of consideration for them," Jared retorted, not thinking he was wrong. He was implying that Lawrence's visit was more than fine, but once he had seen them, leaving was the proper thing to do, as the patient needed rest. Seeing that the two would quarrel any time, Nicole looked at Lawrence and said, Leo, I'm really fine. I'm tired too. Lawrence's expression stiffened slightly, and he could only issue a silent sigh in the end. All right. He knew that although Nicole had claimed that she was fine, it was still not a minor accident. Rest well. I'll come to see you tomorrow, Lawrence advised, and left thereafter. After Lawrence had exited the room, Nicole playfully scolded Jared, "Your attitude toward guests is also far from commendable." Jared seemed to be on edge whenever Lawrence was around, and usually situations in which they were both together would culminate either in Jared giving him a cold shoulder or asking him to leave. "It seems to me that he doesn't consider himself as a mere guest," Jared said indifferently, not seeing anything wrong with his behavior. Nicole could not help but shake her head in exasperation. She did not want to argue with him about Lawrence anymore. "Now, rest up," he said. Since Lawrence had left, there was no need to discuss him anymore, so he helped Nicole lie down. Nicole smiled warmly as she stared at the worried look on Jared's face. "Don't worry, I'm really okay. You still have to recover." Jared's face shifted to a serious, unsmiling expression as he asked Nicole to get some proper rest. "Okay, I'll get some shut-eye." Nicole agreed, getting a warm, fuzzy feeling in her heart as she knew that Jared was genuinely concerned about her. Jared sat by the bedside, watching her until she fell asleep peacefully. Then, his gaze deepened slightly. Although the car accident was unexpected, he knew she could have avoided it if she had retained her agility and skills in the past. At the very least, she would not have been injured. Unfortunately, this had led to many questions which had still been unanswered. What had happened back then? Who in San Giotto wanted her dead so badly that she would face such dangers as soon as she arrived? Who could possibly be more well-informed than Jared himself? Meanwhile, outside the hospital, Lawrence continued to linger around even after he had gotten into the car. He waited until the lights in the hospital room went off before he coldly uttered, "Drive." "Mr. Lawrence, is Nikki in serious condition?" Ian asked softly. Why did Mr. Royce stay in the car for so long? He had just been staring at her room like that. Lawrence glanced at Ian. The name Nikki was one he had given to her. Hearing that name now, it felt as if it had been a long, long time ago. "She's fine," Lawrence said in a low voice. "Let's call her Nicole from now on." "Yeah. I slipped and called her that earlier because I was too worried," Ian replied. He was used to calling her Nikki, so it was a little difficult for him to switch all of a sudden. After a pause, Ian added, "I found out that the accident was Snow's idea of exacting revenge. She is the daughter of the Riddle family's second son, and she has been arrested." Lawrence squinted. He knew things were not that simple, so he had sent Ian out to investigate. However, he was not expecting a result of this sort. "I heard it was quite a dangerous accident. Fortunately, Ms. Nicole was agile enough to dodge the car and avoid any critical injuries and life-threatening conditions. If she had retained her previous abilities, she should have been even safer. Unfortunately." Ian stopped, his expression growing tense. "I'm sorry, Mr. Royce." How could he bring up Nicole's past injuries? It was a taboo topic that he ought never mention in front of Lawrence. In response, Lawrence cast a cold glance at Ian without saying a word. Ian lifted his hands off the wheel, feeling a chill down his spine. He drove on, not daring to say a word. The atmosphere in the car was tense, and Ian was growing anxious by the second. Leaning against his seat, Lawrence gazed out of the window into the dark night sky, lost in thought. The sun unveiled a new day. Nicole had a good sleep and woke up with a much improved complexion. After glancing at the bedside, she noticed that Jared was still lying by her side. "Jared Johnston," Nicole said. "Did he sleep like this the whole night?" Hearing her voice, Jared opened his eyes and looked at Nicole. "I'm awake. Why didn't you sleep on the other bed?" Nicole asked, noting the look of fatigue in his expression. "This place is fine. That bed is too far from you," Jared replied indifferently. Indeed, the other bed was a little too far away for him, so he had opted to sleep with her instead. Nicole looked at the bed that was just about an arm's length away, her lips twitching as she thought, "Is this considered far to him?" By then, Jared had already stood up, and then, he helped Nicole freshen up. Breakfast should be arriving soon. As he spoke, there was a knock on the door. "Come in," Jared said. Max entered and placed the breakfast down, but then, he had a hesitant look on his face. Jared glanced at Max and gestured for him to leave first. Having understood Jared, he walked out of the room. After sitting down, Jared had breakfast with Nicole, who looked at him and said, "Go ahead and attend to your matters. I'll be fine." Jared agreed when he knew that she too had noticed Max's odd behavior. "I'll head out first." "Okay," Nicole replied. She leaned against the headboard, took her phone, and intended to inquire about the company's situation when Lulu came. Strolling in. "How are you?" Lulu approached Nicole. "I'm fine." Nicole smiled as she eyed Lulu's look of guilt. "Don't blame yourself. It's better for one person to be injured than for the both of us to be. But if you didn't try to save me, you might not have been hurt like this." Lulu replied, still feeling really bad for Nicole. "I'm more agile and resilient than you are. If you had stayed put, the injuries might have been worse." Nicole patted Lulu's hand to comfort her. Then, she changed the subject. "How's the company doing?" "Everything is normal. President Riddle said he will oversee it for now so that you can focus on your recovery," Lulu replied. "President Riddle?" Nicole teased. "Shouldn't you be calling him your brother-in-law now?" "No." Lulu's cheeks reddened as she explained. "Even Ms. Brito addresses him as President Riddle, so I should stick to company rules." Moreover, she and Spencer were merely engaged, and had not gotten to the point of being married yet. Therefore, it would be a little awkward for her to call him her brother-in-law at this point. "Sure, let's go back home together next time. Then, they won't be President Riddle and Ms. Brito anymore. They'll just be your brother and sister-in-law." Nicole raised an eyebrow and smiled at Lulu. Lulu's cheeks grew even redder as Nicole was teasing her. Changing the subject, Lulu began discussing company matters with Nicole. Outside the room, Max was busy reporting to Jared. "Mr. Johnston, Snow is missing again." Max reported, having rushed over after he had received the news this morning. An icy glint crossed Jared's eyes. "What do you mean missing again?" Feeling a little frustrated, Max explained, "I can't believe how cunning Snow is. Last night, she suddenly fell into a coma and was taken to the hospital. While the doctors were treating her, she managed to escape." "Even if she had gone to the hospital, weren't there people accompanying her?" Jared asked. With concrete evidence of her crime, it was impossible for Snow to move freely without being traced by the watchdogs of the police network. There were a few people following her, but they couldn't enter the emergency room. After waiting for a while and noticing that there was no movement inside, they sensed that something was off and barged in. The doctors and nurses had already fainted, and Snow was gone, Max explained. "Send our men after her." A freezing glint flashed in Jared's eyes. "We've already dispatched our men, but there's no news yet." Max hesitated for a moment before he lowered his voice into a whisper. "Should we get Ms. Nicole discharged from the hospital first?" He was worried that if Nicole stayed here and Snow found her before they could catch her, Nicole would be in danger. Jared's pupils slightly narrowed as he murmured, "Arrange it." "If yes, Mr. Johnston." Max agreed and hurried away thereafter. Then, Jared stiffly turned around and entered the ward again. Lulu and Nicole were talking to each other, but as soon as Jared entered, they suddenly fell silent. Glancing at Nicole, Jared's voice remained calm as he said, "I've just gotten Max to arrange for your discharge. Since the injuries are not serious, it's better for you to recover at home." Jared did not wish to tell Nicole about Snow's escape. He would deal with this matter himself, as he did not want Nicole to be affected by any of it. Nicole's gaze darkened a little, and she sighed. "It's because of Snow, isn't it?" Hearing this, Jared understood that Nicole was already aware of what was going on. He guessed that Lulu had also learned of the incident and had informed Nicole about it. "Max will handle the situation from here on out," he replied. Though Jared was not concealing the recent development from Nicole anymore, he still did not want her to worry about it. Nicole knew why Jared had arranged for her discharge, but it was then that she hesitated for a moment before looking him in the eye. I think I'd rather stay here. There might be danger here. Jared furrowed his brow. She's targeting me now. If I don't show up, she might not either. It's better to resolve this once and for all instead of playing a game of hide and seek, Nicole insisted, feeling that a decisive solution was better. Nicole, maybe you should listen to Mr. Johnston. Snow won't hide forever, Lulu persuaded. After informing Nicole of the news, she had become aware of Nicole's intention to face this challenge on her own, but she did not want Nicole to take any unnecessary risks, which could place her in grave danger. Since Jared had other arrangements now, Lulu felt it would be better for them to follow his lead. What do you think? Nicole looked at Jared, her gaze determined. She understood that both Jared and Lulu were considering her safety, but she felt that she should face this situation on her own. After contemplating for a moment, Jared could only agree. All right. Since she already knew about it, he would not be able to keep this matter hidden from her any longer. She would just keep thinking about it, so it would be better for him to go along with her wishes. However, he still needed to make sure that Max would make the appropriate arrangements. Even if Nicole intended to use herself as bait, Jared could absolutely not allow her to be put in harm's way. Both Nicole and Jared had agreed to the plan, so all Lulu could do was remind, you must be careful. Snow is probably out of her mind. Don't worry, she doesn't have what it takes to harm me. A dark glint crossed Nicole's eyes. Even if her combat skills were not what they used to be, dealing with Snow would not be a problem. So, if she does come, when is it going to be? Lulu darted her eyes to the window outside. Hearing that, Nicole could not help but chuckle. Even if she does make her move at this time, she wouldn't show herself. She'll wait for the right opportunity to strike. Which would probably be when you're resting in the evening, Lulu guessed. Nicole shook her head. I'm not sure. She's like a frightened bird now, so we should expect her to do something sudden and unexpected. Rationally, Snow might choose to strike in the quiet of the night, but they also realized that she might suspect that they would anticipate that, so it would be difficult to predict when she would show up to make a move. She sure has the guts to flee. Doesn't she know she'll only add to her growing list of charges? Lulu coldly sneered, feeling that Snow was just digging herself a deeper grave. She might have reached her limit this time. Nicole's eyes darkened slightly. As Harvey did not acknowledge their relationship in the past, his favor and good graces had been hard-won. But all of it had been dashed away, as the outcome had turned out to be what it was. Because of this, Snow probably had a hard time handling the blow. However, even if she could not cope with the fact that they had made a fool out of her, it was not Nicole's responsibility to make things right. She's brainless and greedy. She's only got herself to blame. Lulu rolled her eyes, flashing a look of disdain. Nicole shrugged her shoulders. You're right. Who can she blame but herself? It's about time now, so I'll head off to our office, Nicole announced and walked off. Since Jared did not indicate that he would be leaving anytime soon, Lulu figured that he would stay to take care of Nicole. After Lulu had left, Nicole looked at Jared and said, you should head off to Johnston Group as well. I'll be fine on my own. There's nothing urgent at work that requires my attention. Jared's eyes remained still and calm. Max would handle things on the company's end, and if something important came up, he could bring it to the hospital. Nicole shook her head, and knowing that Jared was not leaving, she allowed him to stay. After all, he would not oblige even if she insisted that he should leave. Rest a little while more. Jared stepped forward to help Nicole lie down, but she waved him off. I'm not tired. Why don't you bring my laptop here? She could not stand lying down like this all the time, so she might as well find something to do. However, Jared refused. You can either sit up or lie down, but you must rest. Nicole glared at Jared with a hint of resentment. She was injured, but she was not weakened to the point where she could not take care of herself. Seeing the look of reluctance on her face, Jared compromised. Should I turn the TV on for you instead? Since she was not allowed to work now, it was better for her to find something to kill time and relax. Knowing there was no other choice, Nicole agreed. Fine. After Jared had turned the TV on for her, Nicole switched through a few channels before settling on the financial news channel. Recently, there has been a slight fluctuation in Dill Corp's stock price. The company's general manager, Mr. Dillon, is working to stabilize the situation. Nicole squinted as she listened to the news report. As it turned out, Dillon had seemingly adopted James's plan. Anything that happened next would depend on how well Harvey, Everett, Dillon, and James played their roles. Don't worry about these minor issues. Jared's eyes darkened as he asked Nicole to change the channel. This is not a minor issue. It's a spectacle. We should definitely keep an eye on it and keep our spirits up. Nicole smiled. It was not time for her to act yet, so she was going to let them duke it out among themselves for now. Jared was bemused as he shook his head, indulgently allowing her to do whatever she pleased. When Max returned, he already knew that Nicole was informed, so he directly reported, "We've searched everywhere we can, but we haven't found Snow. The police are also investigating. Forget it if there's no progress. Don't keep such a close watch over the hospital." Nicole's gaze slightly darkened. Snow was no fighter or schemer, but she was good at one thing, and that was hiding. She had managed to keep herself concealed awfully well before, so unless she made a move, it would not be easy to find her. After all, San Joto was huge, so there were many places for her to hide. By letting their guard down a little, they might be able to fool Snow into thinking that there was an opportunity to strike, and that would in turn increase the chance of her showing up. For some reason, Nicole had a gut feeling that Snow would come for her. Sure, Max responded as he understood the plan. As there were no further orders, Max left. Then, Nicole looked at Jared and said, "Actually, you can really leave now. The problem is, so long as you're here, she won't have a chance to show herself." Now that everything was set up, all that was missing was the bait Nicole. Unfortunately, with her guardian angel around, she would not be able to assume her role, and therefore, the plan could not proceed. After giving Nicole a deep look, Jared could only acquiesce. Fine. Indeed, as Nicole had said, if Jared had stayed, Snow would most likely not dare to show herself. "Don't worry, I'll take care of myself." Nicole smiled, comforting Jared. Jared kissed her forehead and said, "I won't go far. As soon as she comes, let me know." "Okay." Nicole nodded in agreement, knowing that Jared would not be at ease if she did not. After Jared had left, Nicole redirected her gaze to the TV. The news about Dill Corp had just concluded, with other news being broadcasted now. Nicole bit her lip. It seemed to her that there would be results regarding Dill Corp's situation soon, so she decided to instruct Lulu to keep a close eye on it. After dialing Lulu's number, Nicole got straight to the point, "Keep an eye on James." "Got it." After hanging up, Nicole's gaze darkened. In her eyes, they needed to be most careful of James, as the others in his family were not as cunning or formidable. Concurrently at Dill Corp, Dillon's head was in a whirl due to the fluctuations in stock prices. Is your plan really viable? Why hasn't the stock prices stabilized yet? Dillon anxiously asked James. "Dad, it will stabilize soon. Just be patient and wait a little longer," James assured confidently. Dillon sighed. At this point, all he could do was wait, as there was no other option. Seeing that Dillon was not pressing further, James exchanged a glance with Rain, indicating that the timing was right. With that, he signaled his exit from the office. Now, only Rain and Dillon remained in the office. "Dad, I heard that Snow escaped again after she was caught. But now, no one knows where she is," Rain said in a low voice. "Humph, she's a real piece of work." Dillon's face assumed a sour grimace at the mention of Snow. She was the reason as to why they were in such a sticky situation now. On top of that, she had even gone out of her way to pick a fight with Nicole. She's off her rocker, Dillon thought. At present, Nicole was still focused on recovering, so Jared did not have the time to deal with them yet. But once she had been discharged from the hospital, they would be in deep trouble if Jared decided to go after them. Harvey and Everett were already giving Dylan headaches, so he did not even want to think about Jared piling up on him. For this reason, Dylan was anxious. He hoped that James's plan would succeed soon. After the company was stable, he could focus on other ways to deal with the situation. Otherwise, they would really be sent packing for good. "Dad, now isn't the time to get upset. I actually think this is an opportunity," Rain said. "What do you mean?" Dylan frowned and looked at Rain. Rain lowered her voice even further. "I heard that Snow escaped last night." "Escaped? How?" Dylan's face instantly blanched, for she had already caused such a huge mess. Being caught is one thing, but escaping as well. Does she think our family isn't stressed enough already? "Dad, although this hasn't been officially announced, it's definitely true. Right now, no one knows where Snow is hiding. I think she won't remain in hiding forever. If anything, she must be planning something," Rain responded. After a moment of silence, Dylan's gaze turned dark, and he said, "Are you suggesting she will go after Nicole again?" "Definitely." Rain confirmed upon seeing that Dylan had understood her implication. Previously, she was caught because she plotted a car accident. Now that she's escaped, she will definitely go after Nicole. "All right," Dylan nodded, thinking that Rain had a point. "What are you suggesting?" As she would not just inform him about it without a good reason, there must be some purpose behind it. "Everyone is working hard to find her. I say, we should secretly help her, so she doesn't get caught," Rain said. "Well, not before she gets into a tango with Nicole, at least. If Snow succeeds in getting to Nicole." The mere thought excited Rain. Once Nicole was gone and Snow was captured, everything in the Riddle family would be hers. Ha! So what if you have Jared and Harvey? You can only get everything you want if you're as tough as I am, she thought. Feeling increasingly triumphant, Rain saw this as a God-sent opportunity that she absolutely had to seize. Dylan also contemplated the feasibility of this plan. If it succeeded, the benefits he would reap were obvious. But if it failed? After a moment of hesitation, Dylan furrowed his brows and said, "But if Jared finds out, we will be in trouble." "We obviously can't let Jared find out. Besides, our participation won't be direct. We'll just spread some false information to distract and misdirect them. If they can't catch Snow, she'll naturally stand a chance," Rain smugly responded. Hearing this, Dylan nodded in agreement. "Sounds like a plan." As long as they were not directly involved, no one would trace it back to them. Hence, they would not be guilty by association. "Since you've agreed, I'll go make arrangements, Dad," Rain said excitedly, unable to wait to see the results. After Rain had left, Dylan's gaze darkened slightly. Who would have thought that Rain and James, the least promising of the bunch, would turn out to be the most useful? After Rain had left the office, James stood outside, waiting for her. Dad agreed. Rain smugly raised her eyebrows. "Your plan worked. That's good." James smiled, looking genuinely happy for Rain. Rain blushed as she looked at James with a coy smile. She then turned and headed back to the office. The gentleness on James's face then disappeared as his gaze at Rain turned cold. As the sun had set, the glow of the setting sun filled the room. During that evening, the ward had become lively once again. Not only did Lulu and Spencer come, but Samuel and June as well. Samuel was able to walk with the aid of crutches. When he heard that Nicole was injured, he had insisted on coming to visit her. June wanted to come too, so she agreed to tag along. "You seem to be recovering well." Nicole observed Samuel's healthy complexion and quick recovery, feeling genuinely happy for him. "It's all thanks to June. Her care and effort are why I've recovered so quickly," Samuel praised June, not forgetting the effort she had put in. "You just happen to possess a strong body yourself." June blushed upon hearing Samuel's praise. She felt that it was only natural for her to take care of him since he was injured, so there was no need for him to compliment her. "You should recover even faster so the wedding can happen sooner," Lulu teased them both with a smile. Hearing this, June could not help but roll her eyes at Lulu. "Don't forget that we're having the wedding together." "I actually forgot," Lulu said. Just like that, it was Lulu's turn to feel embarrassed. Her cheeks flushed a shade of rosy red, making her look extremely adorable. Everyone burst into laughter upon noting Lulu's antics. "Then," Spencer complained, "seems like I have to keep reminding you now. I wouldn't want my bride to be absent at the wedding just because she forgot that she was getting married." Spencer's words made everyone burst into another gale of laughter. "Don't worry, I'll remind her too." June piled in. After all, Lulu had just teased her. As everyone laughed and chatted, the atmosphere in the hospital room became especially lively. "None of us have eaten, right? I'll order some food, so that we can all eat together," Nicole suggested as dinner time came. "Sure," everyone agreed, deciding to stay and have dinner together. After dinner, no one seemed to have any intention of leaving. Because of this, Nicole could not help but look at them with a raised brow. No one dared to return her gaze as they were all feeling a sense of guilt for whatever reason. Then, finally, Nicole realized what was going on. "You can all go home. If you stay here, she won't dare to show up," Nicole said, knowing that they did not want to leave because they were all worried about her. However, if they stayed, Snow would not reveal herself. But Lulu wanted to argue further, but Nicole stopped her. "You know I'm right," Nicole said. Lulu could only bite her lip and stay silent, for she knew Nicole was right. "Go home, everyone. Everything here is all set," Nicole urged them to leave. She had even sent Jared home to look after Nolan and Lana. All of this was done to create a window of opportunity for Snow to appear. She could not keep many people here, or else, Snow would never dare to show her face. Noticing the worried expressions on their faces, Nicole continued to reassure them she might be too afraid to show up anyway. After exchanging glances with each other, they ultimately decided to leave. "Well then, we'll go home now and come back to visit you tomorrow." Deep down, they all knew that the act of staying was not going to help and might even disrupt Nicole's plan. "Okay." Nicole smiled and nodded in agreement. After they had exited the ward, Nicole glanced at the time. She figured that it was almost time for visiting hours to end. The relatives and friends who had come to pay their visits had already left, leaving only patients and medical staff in the building. In a little while, it would be time for nurses to do their rounds. After that, everyone would turn the lights off and go to sleep. If Snow were to appear, it would probably be during the quiet hours of the night. Nicole then proceeded to calculate the possible time frame for Snow's appearance and the likelihood of it happening. Minutes passed, and soon, knocks were heard on the door. "Rounds. Come in." The nurse's voice emanated from outside the door, and Nicole replied accordingly, allowing the nurse to enter. Nicole squinted as she stared at the person entering. Why is this nurse so well covered, and why does her figure seem so familiar? "Did your shift change?" Nicole deliberately said, noticing that the nurse was trying her best to not reveal her face. "Yeah," she replied in a muffled voice. Without saying another word, she wheeled in the cart topped with equipment for routine measurements of blood pressure. Nicole shot the nurse another glance and her gaze darkened once again. She then feigned cooperation with the nurse, doing everything she was expected to, when suddenly, she stuck her arm out to grab and remove the nurse's mask when the latter least expected it. "Ah!" The nurse reeled, startled and with her face exposed to Nicole. As she eyed Snow, Nicole cynically curled her lips. "Just as I suspected." Nicole felt that something was off as soon as Snow appeared. Besides, Nicole's subtle probes had only heightened her suspicions. Snow, who had failed to anticipate that she would be recognized so quickly, then leered at Nicole. "It's me, all right. Let's see who can save you today." Then, Snow grabbed a scalpel and lunged at Nicole. Nicole quickly rolled aside as the blade pierced the mattress, slicing clean through the sheet. Seeing that her first attack had failed, Snow swung the scalpel at Nicole again, chasing after her like a stark raving mad woman. All she desperately wanted to do was stab Nicole. Since Nicole was still injured, her wounds had reopened as blood began to seep through the bandages. Meanwhile, Snow was going berserk with her increasingly frenzied and relentless attacks, prompting Nicole to dodge and sidestep each swipe before pressing the red button on the bed. Soon, someone barged into the room and tackled Snow to the ground the instant they saw her attacking Nicole. "Mrs. Johnston, are you all right?" the leader of the group dressed in black asked. "I'm fine," Nicole responded calmly. Seized and pinned down, Snow was rendered immobile. She understood the situation she was in, and with a murderous glare directed at Nicole, she yelled, "You knew I'd come, so you had deliberately set a trap." It was obvious that these men were all arranged to stand guard and protect Nicole, and this meant that Snow was in the bin the instant she appeared. Funnily, she thought that her disguise as a nurse would not go unnoticed by Nicole. Nicole raised an eyebrow and looked at Snow. "You're right. I actually found it strange that you didn't show up." After all, Snow was not the type to swallow her grievances. After being humiliated, she would definitely find a way to take revenge. However, she had picked the wrong target this time. Snow's humiliation had nothing to do with Nicole in the first place. And since she was actively seeking Nicole out just to attack her, Nicole could not simply let it slide. Realizing that her attempt had failed once again, Snow gritted her teeth and tried to lunge at Nicole again. "You." Nicole gazed coldly at Snow and remarked, "You went out of your way to hurt me first, and then you tried to escape punishment. And now you've come to kill me. You really do hate me with a passion, don't you?" "Of course I hate you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be in this situation now." Snow's eyes were bloodshot as she yelled in frustration. Nicole glanced at Snow coldly. "Too bad. It's entirely on you." Snow's current situation was hardly Nicole's fault, and yet, here she was, mindlessly blaming her for her predicaments. This had really left Nicole speechless. "If it weren't for you, I would have had a loving relationship with Harvey. I would have become Mrs. Ellison long ago. I wouldn't have become the laughingstock of San Giotto repeatedly." Snow refused to listen to Nicole, deeply convinced that everything was Nicole's fault. The one who refused to marry you was Harvey. The one who deceived you again was Harvey. Shouldn't you blame him for your humiliation instead? Nicole stated, pointing out that none of these were her doing. If anything, those actions were Harvey's doing. "Don't act innocent. Don't you know that Harvey likes you?" Snow yelled, exasperated and furious. Nicole raised an eyebrow, puzzled. "So, it's my fault that he likes me instead of you?" Suddenly, she wondered if Harvey did not like Snow because she was nothing short of an imbecile. "It is your fault, and it's his fault too." Snow's cheeks flushed red with anger as she glared at Nicole with dagger-like eyes. "That's why I want you dead. That way, he will suffer forever. And as long as I see him in pain and regret, I'll be happy." Nicole stared at Snow as if she were looking at a fool. "If you kill me, you'll die too. And if she does, how is she going to see Harvey suffer and regret?" Nicole thought. Nicole did not know whether Harvey would suffer or regret anything he had done. But regardless of what the outcome was, she knew one thing was certain: Snow would not be around to witness it. Stumped by Nicole's retort, Snow's face turned pale. Gritting her teeth in frustration, she said, "I want him to suffer. I want to take revenge on him." As she spoke, Snow's voice grew softer as she repeated the same sentence over and over until her voice became a whisper. Frowning, Nicole could not help but notice that Snow seemed to have become unhinged. "Yes, I want to kill you and make him regret all that he has done." Snow roared. Suddenly, as if she had snapped out of a trance-like state, Snow thrashed around again and lunged at Nicole. This caught the men in black off guard, and Snow managed to break free from their grasp. "Mrs. Johnston, be careful," one of the men shouted. Noticing Snow's sudden burst of speed, Nicole instinctively ducked to evade her. With all of the strength she could muster, Snow charged headfirst at Nicole, who dodged and watched as an unstoppable Snow threw herself forward with great momentum, crashing into the window. "Quick, catch her!" the men shouted as one of them ran towards Snow. Snow clumsily climbed onto the windowsill as she did not want to be captured, and without a second thought, she jumped out and took the plunge. "Hey!" For a brief moment, time stopped, as if the entire space around them had frozen. Then there was a thud, an ear-piercing screech echoing from below, and a cacophony of noise. "Ah, Mrs. Johnston, I'll go and have a look." "Okay." Nicole stared at the window after they had left, feeling a cocktail of emotions within her. She did not anticipate that Snow would have the courage to actually jump. Suddenly, she heard Jared's voice beside her, causing her to look up at him instinctively. "Whatever happens next, Max will take care of it."
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.